I, 38M, grew up in what I thought was a close-knit family. We weren't wealthy, but my parents worked hard to provide for us three kids: me, my sister Rachel, 36F, and my younger brother Thomas, 32M. Our father passed away from a heart attack when I was 20, leaving our mother Clara, 61F, to raise us alone. She worked two jobs to put Rachel through business school, while I worked my way through engineering college with scholarships and student loans. Thomas was still in high school then. I met my wife Lucy, 35F, during my final year of college. She was studying architecture and came from a completely different background. Her parents were wealthy real estate developers who had set up a substantial trust fund for her before they tragically died in a car accident when she was 16. Lucy was raised by her aunt, who passed away shortly after our wedding. Despite our different backgrounds, Lucy fit perfectly into our family. She helped my mother start a small catering business, supported Rachel's dream of becoming a financial advisor by connecting her with her old family contacts, and even tried to mentor Thomas when he dropped out of college saying he wanted to become an entrepreneur. Looking back, I should have seen the signs of how my family, especially Thomas, seemed too interested in Lucy's financial matters. We had 8 beautiful years together before Lucy was diagnosed with aggressive breast cancer. She fought hard for 2 years, but the cancer spread despite multiple treatments. During her final months, she was most concerned about our daughter Ashley, 7F. Lucy knew how hard it was to lose parents young, so she meticulously planned Ashley's future. Lucy converted her trust fund, worth about $850,000, into an inheritance fund for Ashley. She specifically structured it to cover Ashley's education and give her a strong start in life. Against my initial objections, Lucy insisted on making my mother and sister co-trustees instead of me. She said it would be better to have financial professionals managing it, Rachel, while having a loving grandmother, my mother, to ensure the money was used wisely. I trusted my family completely, so I agreed. The first 2 years after Lucy's death were incredibly difficult. My mother moved in with us to help care for Ashley while I struggled with grief and working long hours at my engineering firm. Rachel handled all the paperwork for Lucy's estate and the trust fund, giving us monthly updates about how well the investments were doing. Thomas started visiting more often, always talking about his latest business ideas and how he just needed some capital to get started. Things started changing about 6 months ago. I noticed my mother becoming anxious whenever I mentioned Ashley's future education. She would quickly change the subject or make excuses to leave the room. Rachel, who used to be obsessive about sharing monthly investment reports, began missing our family dinners and ignoring my calls about the trust fund updates. Then last month, my cousin Michael, 41M, who works at the bank where the trust fund was held, called me in a panic. He had discovered numerous unauthorized withdrawals from Ashley's trust fund while reviewing accounts for an audit. The transactions dated back over 2 years and totaled more than $600,000. What made it worse was that many withdrawals were labeled as business investments or family emergency loans. When I confronted Rachel, she broke down completely. She and our mother had been using the money to help Thomas with his supposed business ventures and gambling debts. They claimed Thomas had gotten involved with some dangerous people who were threatening him, and they felt they had no choice but to use Ashley's money to protect him. The betrayal cut deep because I remembered all the times Thomas would visit, playing with Ashley and bringing her expensive gifts. Now I realized he was buying his niece's presents with her own inheritance money. My mother tried to justify their actions by saying Lucy would have wanted to help family, completely ignoring that they were stealing from Lucy's only child. I immediately contacted a lawyer and had forensic accountants go through everything. The investigation revealed that Rachel had been falsifying investment reports to hide the withdrawals. She used her position at her financial advisory firm to create fake documents showing the trust fund was growing when it was actually being drained. My mother wasn't just a passive participant, she had used some of the money to renovate her house, buy a new car, and even went on a cruise with her church group. Thomas had never started any real businesses. Instead, he had been gambling away the money at casinos and through online betting sites. I've already initiated legal proceedings and filed police reports. I moved out of our family home with Ashley and cut all contact with my mother, sister, and brother. Some extended family members are saying I'm being too harsh, that families should forgive each other. Others are encouraging me to press criminal charges. The hardest part is explaining to Ashley why we don't see Grandma anymore, or why Aunt Rachel doesn't come to her school events. She's too young to understand the full extent of what happened, but old enough to feel the loss of her family members. My mother has been telling everyone that I'm overreacting, that they were going to pay back the money eventually. But how do you repay $600,000 when none of them have any significant assets or savings? They didn't just steal money, they stole my daughter's future and betrayed my late wife's trust. Ida for pursuing legal action and cutting them off completely? I feel like I failed Lucy by not protecting the future she planned for our daughter. Edit, to address some common questions, yes, I've already filed police reports and the investigation is ongoing. No, there's no chance of recovering the full amount as most of it was spent on Thomas's gambling and untraceable cash withdrawals. Update 1: It's been 2 months since my original post, and I never expected things to get even worse. The police investigation into my sister Rachel's activities opened up a massive can of worms that has shaken our entire extended family and local community. The forensic accountants discovered that Rachel's scheme went far beyond just stealing from Ashley's trust fund. She had been running a complex fraud operation at her financial advisory firm, using her clients' accounts to cover up the withdrawals from Ashley's trust fund. When she needed money for Thomas, she would take it from elderly clients' retirement accounts, then use other clients' money to cover those withdrawals, creating a massive Ponzi scheme. One of her victims was our own Aunt Patricia, 68F, who lost her entire retirement savings of $180,000. Aunt Patricia had trusted Rachel completely, even convincing her friends at church to invest with her. Now over a dozen elderly people in our community have lost their life savings. The firm's internal audit finally caught up with Rachel's activities when one of her clients tried to make a large withdrawal for medical expenses and the money wasn't there. She was fired immediately, and the firm is now facing multiple lawsuits. They're cooperating with authorities, which has helped uncover even more evidence of fraud. Thomas's involvement turned out to be deeper than anyone suspected. Bank records show that Rachel would transfer money to his accounts, and he would withdraw it in cash at various casinos. He claimed he was using the money for business investments, but surveillance footage from these casinos shows him gambling away tens of thousands of dollars in single nights. My mother's role in all this has become clearer too. While she acts innocent and claims she only signed documents Rachel put in front of her, her bank records tell a different story. She used trust fund money to not only buy a new car and renovate her house but also to pay off her mortgage and give loans to several church friends, money she knew came from Ashley's inheritance. The community's reaction has been intense. Many people at my mother's church, where she was once a respected elder, have turned against her after learning she helped steal from her own granddaughter and enabled Rachel's fraud against other church members. She's been asked to step down from her church positions and has lost most of her social circle. What's particularly infuriating is that during this time, I discovered my mother and Rachel had been spreading lies about me in the community. They told people I had gambling problems and that they were protecting Ashley's inheritance from me. Some people actually believed them, which explains the cold shoulders I've been getting at community events. My cousin Michael, who initially alerted me to the theft, has provided more details about how the scheme worked. Rachel would come to the bank with documents supposedly signed by me, authorizing withdrawals for Ashley's educational expenses or medical needs. The signatures were forged, and Rachel used her professional reputation to prevent anyone from questioning the transactions too closely. The investigation has also revealed that Thomas has multiple maxed-out credit cards and loans from questionable sources. He's been telling these creditors that he's expecting a big inheritance, leading them to believe he has money coming. Now these people have started showing up at various family members' homes looking for him. I've had to increase security at our new apartment after my mother showed up multiple times, once causing a scene in the lobby. She refuses to accept responsibility, instead claiming that Lucy would understand and that family has to help family. She seems to have completely forgotten that Ashley is her family too, her only grandchild. The stress of all this has started affecting Ashley's schoolwork, so I've enrolled her in counseling. Her teacher mentioned she's been drawing pictures of her Aunt Rachel in jail, which both breaks my heart and makes me angry all over again. How do you explain to a 7-year-old that the family members she loved and trusted stole her future? Update 4 months after my last update, and the situation has evolved in ways I never imagined. Rachel's criminal case concluded faster than expected because she accepted a plea deal. She's been sentenced to 8 years in prison after pleading guilty to multiple counts of fraud and embezzlement. The total amount she stole, combining Ashley's trust fund and her client's money, exceeded $2.3 million. During the sentencing hearing, we learned that Rachel had also been stealing from our younger cousin's college funds. Aunt Patricia wasn't her only family victim. She had been managing several small trust funds for family members, all of which are now empty. This revelation has torn our extended family apart. Holiday gatherings that once brought together over 40 people will never be the same. My mother's behavior at the sentencing was disturbing. She started screaming that I had destroyed our family by not handling things privately. The judge had to order her removed from the courtroom. Later, outside the courthouse, she tried to approach Ashley, causing such a scene that courthouse security had to intervene. This incident forced me to get a formal restraining order against her. Thomas vanished right after Rachel's sentencing, but not before accessing our mother's retirement accounts and emptying them. He left her completely broke, yet she still defends him, claiming he must have had a good reason. The loan sharks looking for Thomas have become increasingly aggressive. 2 of them showed up at Ashley's school asking questions, which forced me to move her to a different school mid-semester. Through all this, I've been discovering more about Lucy's final months. Her old friend Barbara, 62F, recently shared some emails where Lucy expressed concerns about my family's financial interests. Apparently, both Rachel and Thomas had approached Lucy multiple times asking for investment opportunities while she was undergoing chemotherapy. Lucy never told me because she didn't want to create family tension while she was sick. Barbara also revealed something that made me physically ill. Thomas had tried to convince Lucy to change her will during her final hospital stay, when she was heavily medicated. The nurses had to remove him from her room. I never knew about this because I was home with Ashley that day. Lucy didn't tell me, probably hoping to protect our family relationships until the end. The investigation into the missing money led to discovering 3 storage units rented under Rachel's boyfriend's name. They contained luxury items bought with stolen money, designer handbags, expensive electronics, even a collection of rare coins that Thomas had supposedly invested in. The boyfriend claimed he had no idea about the fraud and is now cooperating with authorities. Most disturbing was finding Lucy's jewelry in one of these storage units. Pieces I thought my mother was keeping safe for Ashley had been sold or pawned. The only piece we recovered was Lucy's engagement ring, which Rachel had apparently been wearing herself. The sheer audacity of this discovery left me speechless. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I believe this will be my final post about this situation. Thomas has been found in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, living under a false identity. He had been working as a financial consultant for American tourists, running the same old scams with a new group of victims. The Mexican authorities arrested him after he tried to scam an undercover FBI agent who was actually investigating a different fraud case. During his arrest, they found multiple fake passports and credit cards in different names. He's being extradited back to face charges both for the trust fund theft and his new scams in Mexico. My mother's reaction to Thomas's arrest was extreme. She had a severe stroke and has been hospitalized. Various family members have been pressuring me to visit her, saying she's been asking for Ashley and me. Some are claiming she's had a change of heart and wants to make amends, but others have revealed she's mainly concerned about who will take care of her now that she's disabled. Through all of this, more family secrets have emerged. My father's life insurance policy, which my mother claimed paid out only $50,000, was actually worth $500,000. Rachel helped her hide this money years ago, and they've been living off it while pretending to struggle financially. This deception started long before Lucy's death, showing that their pattern of financial fraud within the family isn't new. The recovery of assets has been minimal. Between the 3 siblings, they spent nearly all of Ashley's inheritance. Rachel's prison commissary account mysteriously receives regular deposits from unknown sources, suggesting she might have hidden money somewhere that even the investigators haven't found. Several of Lucy's former friends have reached out to share stories about her generosity toward my family. She had secretly paid for Rachel's final year of business school when our mother claimed she took out a loan. She had also helped Thomas with numerous small business loans that he never repaid. Even knowing this, they still stole from her daughter. The final betrayal was discovering that my mother had been writing letters to Ashley's school, trying to get information about her under the guise of being a concerned grandmother. She even attempted to attend Ashley's recent school play by claiming to be Lucy's mother. Thankfully, the school's security measures prevented this. I've had to explain more of the situation to Ashley as she's been asking increasingly complex questions about family and trust. She recently found old family photos and asked if bad people can look like good people in pictures. These moments break my heart but also remind me why maintaining our distance from them is crucial. For those asking about total recovery, between asset seizures, legal settlements, and recovered items, we've managed to reclaim about $200,000. While it's nowhere near the original amount, it's something. Ashley's future isn't completely secure, but we're rebuilding. The hardest part isn't the lost money, it's the lost relationships and innocence that can never be recovered. This entire experience has taught me that sometimes the most dangerous betrayals come from those closest to us. The family members who knew what was happening but stayed silent are just as complicit as those who actively participated in the theft. Moving forward, Ashley and I are focusing on building new traditions and surrounding ourselves with people who deserve our trust. Thank you all for the support throughout this journey. Many asked about my mother's current situation. She's being cared for by my Aunt Patricia, who has chosen to forgive her despite losing her own retirement savings. As for me, I'm focusing on raising Ashley and building a life where she won't have to question the motives of those who claim to love her.